Matt Wyatt with all the good stuff you need to know.
Right here on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide
at thezone1059.com.
Here we go. Put your hands together. Big round of applause for not me, for you. Welcome into the show. Welcome in. It is a Wednesday. I won't call it hump day because Beaver hates it. He loathes that. That's my take on it. That's the impression I've gotten. So we'll just call it a Wednesday. Halfway point of the week. You're one step closer to the weekend. You're one day away from football that's going to matter. You're going to have some high school games. You're going to have a few college games. I don't know who. I don't know. We'll look them up. And I know you'll have an NFL game tomorrow night that Kirk Herbstreit will be paid a lot of money to get in the booth and sleepwalk through. But hey, I'm not bitter. Regardless, that's what'll happen, and all of that's a true statement. Welcome into the show here, and to everybody on the live stream, if you're on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, hey to y'all. And I'm sorry that the live stream had to split yesterday after 1 hour. We should have 2 hours of it today. So get your comments in here on the live stream if you're on Facebook or YouTube. Just type it in, comment, or post it, and I'll see it right here on the Murray West live thread. That's just one of many ways to be a part of the show. You can also text the show on the Country Pleasing text line, that number, 885-3776. Country Pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves all around the Southeast. It is the best sausage you will have ever tried. Give it a try. I dare you to disagree with me. Give it a shot. I'm on some jalapeno and cheddar, which seems to be like a norm for me. That's the norm. Now, they sell a lot of it here, and I eat a lot of it here, frankly. Another way to remember the text line number is 885-ESPN. Got it? So that's a 601 number. You can also call me. That way I get to hear your voice. The Davini Equipment phone line, that's what you call it. It's 995-1059. Got it? 601 number, 995-1059. Call that number, and you get to talk to me. But first, you'll get to talk to Beaver, just like we're doing right now. Hey, B.
Hey, Matt Wyatt.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Aren't I correct in establishing the fact that you don't like the term hump day?
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
You know, it does just send me into a blind rage or anything.
All right.
But, you know, I'm somewhat against it.
You're not big on it.
No, the Camels ruined it.
Hump day, yeah. I got you. Beaver, I have been thinking about you. What's your reaction, Beaver, when somebody says that to you? Hey, man, listen, I've been thinking about you. How do you feel when somebody says that to you?
It's nice to be thought of, I guess.
Okay, so you don't mind it. It doesn't weird you out. If somebody...
No, it's the exact opposite of Jake Wimberly just walking in here and not wanting to talk to me or anything. He's just looking for something that a person just dropped off. He came in here, and he's looking around. He didn't even say hey.
He's just looking for something. He's like, where's that valuable thing in here with all this unvaluable stuff? There's a valuable thing in here that'll stick out if I can just find it. Where is that? Oh, hey, Beav, how you doing? So that's how that went?
Oh, there wasn't even an, oh, hey.
Oh, he didn't even say anything?
No, he was halfway out the door before I said anything. That's why I brought it up.
Wow. Jake, you gotta speak to people in the office. This kid, Jake's a great guy. We're just picking on him. Okay, here's why I was thinking about you, Beaver. It has to do with that show, The Office. And if you're listening to this show and you're going, Matt, I came here on a Wednesday to immediately hear hard-hitting sports college football analysis. Well, listen, that's coming. Just wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Beaver, it is well documented on this show, and I'm sure other places as well, that you don't like Jim and Pam on The Office. Right?
Yeah, now it's kind of tough with Pam because she was just influenced by Jim's jerkness.
Okay.
So she's just became kind of unlikable by association, but she was still likable.
She's guilty by association as far as you're concerned. Well, it hit me overnight. Beaver, you know how there have been times in this show where I had to come in here and lay down on the Dr. Beaver psychiatrist couch?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a couch for you to lay on, but I didn't even invite you. I just went ahead and diagnosed something. It finally hit me. I know what it is. I know what this is. You have a problem with pranks. I think that's what's at the guts of your dislike for Jim, the character Jim on The Office, is because his character was known for really one thing other than the relationship with Pam. He was known for pranks. Pranks on Dwight primarily, pranks even on others. He did it on Michael, right? And he pulled Pam, you just said it, guilty by association. He pulled Pam into the whole prank thing. And she became someone who kind of thought that was cute and funny because it was really Jim's idea, the pranks. I think this must go back to you have there must be a history of pranks. Beaver am I in the ballpark, and is it making you uncomfortable?
You are not getting paid for this session. I have received no help.
Okay. Is there a time in the past where someone played a prank on you? Totally unbeknownst, like a real sure enough prank. Like it's like they just pulled one over your head there.
I'm sure there was somewhere.
Okay, but you can't think of a specific one?
Maybe I blocked it out. Maybe there's something to this now.
See, that's what I'm getting at. I bet if we really did have a counseling session here, a paid one, and then we were to dig a little deeper, we probably would find that I think this is another take. I'm going to take it one step further, Beaver. See if you'd pay me for this. I think you have a soft spot in your heart for anybody out there who is truly innocent. And the last thing that you're going to put up with is somebody taking advantage of that innocence for a cheap laugh. And that's what pranks are. Okay, now what do you think?
Oh, Matt, Wyatt, what's your rate? How much are you charging for this?
That's a good question. I didn't think of that ahead of time. Okay, all right. So, look, I'm just giving you something that's an honest thought I had. I thought, you know what? It must go. Beaver hates the idea of somebody who will just, for fun, for their own giggles, will pull a prank on an innocent person. And even though Dwight, a lot of people would look at it and go, Dwight deserves it. He was this weirdo. The fact is, he really wasn't bothering anybody. Right? Except for the time that he set the office on fire for a real fire drill. Other than that, he didn't deserve all those pranks. I think, Beaver, you in your heart it sounds to me like you believe Dwight did not deserve to have all those pranks pulled on him on the show. Now, yes or no?
Looking back, no. Because the best part was when Dwight got him back with the snowballs.
Oh, you enjoyed that? See what I mean? You're telling me one of the best things in the show is when he got Jim back with what? An elaborate prank, effectively, that finally turned the tables on Jim. Your dislike for him has nothing to do with the fact that he was seeing Pam behind Roy's back. It's pranks. You just confirmed it. And I gotta say, I do agree with you. It was great. When Jim opened the little Christmas present, and as soon as he opened the lid on the box, a snowball catapulted right into his face. I mean, it's brilliant. It's just brilliant. All right, there you go. There's our office segment for today. Hey, Beaver, sincerely, thanks for playing along there.
thank you for your diagnosis.
You wanted to say, thank you for wasting my time.
No.
But you wanted to say it, but you're too nice of a guy to say. Y'all heard that pause, though, didn't you? Y'all all heard the pause. And in that pause, he was about to spit it out for wasting my time. He already asked me what I charge for it. All right. Here we go. Let's get into it today. First up on the Murray West live thread, go to murraywest.com. Contract embroidery, custom apparel, right here in the state of Mississippi, going all the way back to 1996. If you need a logo on something, that's where you go. Go to murraywest.com, MURRY West.com. The Murray West live thread. David on YouTube said, Hail State, hey Matt and Beaver, let's go Dogs. He also said country pleasing is the best sausage. What is it? David, did you mean to type in the word turkey? I don't know what turkey is. Or why that's on there is what I mean. I don't know why that's on there. Hey, Rhino, he texted the show, said his boss Sydney and he are listening to the show on the radio. Appreciate you tuning in. Shout out Rhino Caliendo. And shout out Sydney as well. You're a big star now, Rhino. I mean, you're a viral sensation on social media with all your talents and abilities. Don't think I hadn't seen it. I've seen it. And Jimmy says Matt really needs to sneak down to Jackson and put Beaver's headphones in Jello mold. Jimmy, buddy, if you don't think I hadn't already thought of that, it's strictly, and hey, all right, Beaver, one more thing. You ain't gonna believe this, Beaver. Hey, Beaver.
Hey.
You ain't gonna believe this. True story, and I'll get her to tell you about it at some point. Back in the day, Beaver, when Annabeth and I were both working at the TV station in Tupelo, there was a whole, The Office cult inside. We all watched it. There were some guys there that we worked with. She literally took one of them stapler home, put it in a Jello mold, and took it back to work and left it on his desk. She actually did it.
I like that. Wish I could have seen that.
Isn't it great? She really did it. Yeah, and I think we did for a while anyway. We still go to church with one of those guys, but yeah. But so she's pulled it off. It's definitely doable. What else we got? Good point, Jimmy. You're right. We need to do it. Oh, David, I see what you mean. He's talking about, yes, this is a reminder because you're getting closer. And I got one of those one year. You can go to Country Meat Packers, which is where Country Pleasing Sausage comes from, Highway 49 in Florence, Mississippi. It's right there on the highway. You see a big hog, go in there. David says the turkeys are awesome. You can get a whole smoked turkey all packaged up and ready to go right there at Country Meat Packers. Says, get one for Thanksgiving. You will thank me later. Absolutely. All right. Country Pleasing text line. Country Pleasing Sausage. Speaking of, on the Country Pleasing text line, Mailman David said, traveling today and started losing the signal, so I switched to the radio, the iHeart Radio app, and I can hear you loud and clear. David, yeah, and I've got to admit, I don't do a good enough job of promoting some of the other ways. You can obviously catch the live stream when we got that going on, and the podcast. If you were to go to iTunes and look up the Matt Wyatt Show, you can get the show on a podcast every day. Just download it, subscribe it, listen every day. But also on the website, thezone1059.com, you can stream it right there. Yeah, and the iHeartRadio app, just click play. Search The Zone 1059. Click play and you're listening, man. You're good to go. So anywhere you want to go. Let me see. I got an unnamed texter here with a football question. Compare our offense. Sorry. Predictive text got him there. But what he's asking, he says, compare our offensive line against Alabama's defensive line. He said, I really think that's where the game will either be won or lost. Plus, he says, don't you think Mike Wright needs to play more against a more athletic defense? If not, don't you think we'll have the same results as we did at during the LSU game? Well, it's kind of a multi-layered question there. And I will say, and we've got plenty of time here today and in the rest of the days this week to sort of flesh that kind of stuff out. Specifically, the matchup on line of scrimmage when State has the ball. I mean, there's an advantage Alabama. They recruit at a higher level. They load up on 4- and 5-star players really historically unlike anyone else. Okay, and the only school who in recent years has challenged Alabama's consistency every year in recruiting the line of scrimmage is Georgia. And Georgia's going for its third straight national championship. And so we know that. I mean, Alabama, you might look it up and see, but I think Alabama sent more in terms of just numbers of NFL starting defensive linemen up there than anybody over the last 10 years. That's what they're doing. Okay, they're recruiting on a different level. Their depth is a little different than what other people have too. So there's an advantage there, Alabama. State's offensive line, while very, very experienced coming into the year, you really, by making the change in offensive scheme, you sort of basically took that experience advantage away, because then none of them had any experience doing what they're doing play after play after play. So they're still learning some of that. And that's why you're seeing every game, you've seen missed assignments in the run blocking game. You've seen, mental errors in the run game and others as well. So State's offensive line, while very veteran, had even last week looked like they were still trying to find themselves. And if they are, in fact, and I think they are, but they just still have a ways to go, are in fact making improvement where you have less mental errors and less missed assignments in the run game, then it's going to start to look like it's coming together at some point. And that's really got to happen this week against a talented front like Alabama. So this is what I expect. Be interested to see, and I could be wrong. Been wrong before, but I just kind of expect Alabama defensively to come in here like this, to come to State like this right here. Hey, you saw what happened last week when you gave them down the field chances. They hit some of them. Okay, and even against us, and we feel like we can cover man-to-man in spots. But if we do a lot of it, and we're loading the box and playing a lot of people around the line of scrimmage, giving a lot of man-to-man coverage, playing a lot of no safety coverage, even with our athletes, they're going to hit some of those bigger throws. And that kind of was their offense. The one game this year where they really sort of have been able to do it. And it was last week, South Carolina, and they just put everybody in there focusing on the run, play after play, and gave you shots down the field. They took them and they hit some. Alabama's going to go, well, we don't want that happening to us. And with our Alabama athletes that we have and the players we have on defense, we're going to rely much more on zone coverage and soft coverage and safety over the top coverage than South Carolina did. And we're going to play their run game, that is State's, we're going to play against their run game without having to load the box and put 7 and 8 defenders down there. We'll do it with our front 3 and front 4 and 2 linebackers. I expect Alabama, and I could be, it'll change from play to play, situation to situation, but overall, I think the philosophy for Alabama defensively in this game is going to be, we're just going to be more of a base defense in this game, because we are Alabama. With our athletes on defense, we don't have to do a lot of blitzing to blow up their run game. We don't have to do a lot of blitzing to get to their quarterback when they do throw it. We're going to take away deep throws. We're going to take it away. By alignment, we're going to take it away. And we're going to challenge them, State's offense, that if you score on us, you're going to have to march it down the field and run a bunch of plays and execute a lot of plays and go on some long drives. We're going to keep it all in front of us. You want to score on us, you're going to have to run 10, 12 plays in a row without screwing up. And we don't believe you can do it. I really believe that'll be their philosophy in the game defensively. And that is zone it, soft on the top end, don't give up home runs, make you execute underneath, and you deal with our line of scrimmage, because we don't believe you can. That'll be their philosophy defensively. And it's probably the right thing to do, because to this point in the year, State has not shown the ability to go on long, sustained scoring drives. They haven't done it yet this year. Look, this is the inverse, schematically, of when Mike Leach converted you to the air raid back in 2020. It's the inverse schematically, but you're now going through the same thing. And that is, until you really become proficient at what you're doing, which takes game reps to get it done, until you really become consistent and proficient, defenses are going to do what? They're going to take away any easy, big play home runs where you can score in 1 or 2 plays. We're going to take all that away. We're going to give you what's underneath, and we're going to challenge you. Can you even run 12 plays without screwing one of them up? See, that's what they did in 2020. Go back to 2020. Different scheme, same philosophy, though. State came out in the air raid week 1. And LSU did what? Played man-to-man coverage and gave you easy throw down the – well, not easy, but just gave you open throws down the field, open throws down the field. Big play after big play after big play after big play. Wouldn't get out of man. And starting in week 2 with Arkansas and everybody else that year, what'd they do? They drop 8 in coverage, give you the underneath, and say, all right, show us that you can run 12 to 15 plays on a scoring drive without making a mistake. And guess what? They couldn't. I mean, KJ Costello's had such a great game in week 1. Week 2, he started throwing it to everybody but his teammates. You get a pick, and you get a pick, and you get a pick. Well, here you go, tubas and cheerleaders. Let's just throw it to everybody but our guys. Look, I'm not making fun. I did it too. Okay. But that was the deal. And then things started changing over the course of time where you'd get in games and State could. You gave them underneath throws. They could take it 20 times in a row and you couldn't stop them. And teams started having to adjust, and now it opened stuff down the field. I feel like it's a different scheme, but you're sort of in the same vein now. So, State's offensive line, huge challenge. And if they come out and are consistently blocking in the run game well, it may change. Alabama may have to adjust during the game. But that's what they'll challenge them to do first. All right, your texts, your comments coming up. Just getting started with you on this Wednesday. I'm Matt. In the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
Today's game from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Time was their breakfasts were gloomy. They just didn't feel right, and they didn't know a delicious cereal could help their sad plight. So they tried this and tried that, but irregularity kept coming back all the same. For as often the case, lack of bulk in their diet was actually to blame. Once at the grocer's, the wife was so drooping and sagging that a neighbor said, "Get on Kellogg's All-Bran wagon. Why, All-Bran has a flavor that's scrumptious to eat. So rich and nut-like, makes breakfast a treat. And of course, Kellogg's All-Bran can help you each day to youthful regularity, the dietary way." "Well, it might do some good," said the wife with a sigh. "Guess I'll get some All-Bran and give it a try." Soon, breakfasts at her house were happy and bright, for delicious Kellogg's All-Bran set their day off right. Yes, All-Bran supplies all the bulk in your diet, you see, that you may need for youthful regularity. And no half-brand cereal possibly can provide this help as surely as Kellogg's All-Bran. A delicious, non-habit-forming aid to your diet. You're sure to like All-Bran. Just buy it and try it.
Get on the Kellogg's All-Bran wagon with the best bran in the land. The cereal, the taste bran, the cereal, that's All-Bran. A breakfast treat that can't be beat. Be a regular guy and climb aboard the All-Bran wagon. Eat Kellogg's All-Bran.
What is the secret of this enchanted book? What wonders are hidden within its pages? What magical spell does it cast on all who read it? What is the secret of the never-ending story?
But that's impossible!
You will enter a world where a young boy's imagination becomes a vivid reality. The world of Atreyu and Artax, the Rockbiter, and a good and kind gnome. A world that is vast and eternal, treacherous and dazzling, unforgettable and free. For anyone who's ever made a wish, believed in a fantasy, or had a dream, this is the never-ending story.
It's a new thing. It's a fun thing. It's a swing wing.
It's a what?
It's a swing wing. It's a wing wing. A brand new classic grand fun thing.
It's a what?
It's a swing wing. A fun thing. And now it's your favorite store thing.
It's a what?
Mazda announces some great news for truck buyers. Right now, you can beat the already outstanding value of the $67.95 Mazda SE5. Introducing Mazda SE5 Plus 5. $625 worth of extra features at no extra charge from Mazda. You get a bed liner, mud guards, sliding rear window, floor mats, and AM/FM stereo. That's a $625 value at no extra charge. But hurry.
All right, back with you, rolling along here on this Wednesday in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go! With the home team here on the Murray West live thread, Will said, happy hump day, Matt. Back at you, Will. Happy hump day. Thanks for being here with us. Good way to be a part of the show. On the text line, the country-pleasing text line. I was addressing a text a minute ago someone had about the matchup between State's offensive line and Alabama's defensive line. But then he had another thought. He said, plus, why don't you think Mike Wright, he says, don't you think Mike Wright needs to play more against a more athletic defense? Well, they hadn't used him that much, honestly, have they? Yeah, really since week one. Put a lot of stuff on film for people to look at and prepare for. But, in terms of playing him more, here's what I think. He obviously does bring a different element when you use him that way in certain situations. However, you haven't thrown the ball with him really at all. There's got to be a threat of that. And at some point, they'll let him throw it, and it's got to come at the right time, and you kind of use it for a big play, and you catch somebody off guard, right? Maybe that's the thinking. But I will also say this. In the spring, Mike, when he came in from Vanderbilt, he really struggled throwing the ball back in the spring. At times, I even wondered, was he a little banged up or something? But he did have a hard time throwing it in the spring, and then, here in the fall in practice and stuff, what you heard is that he had begun to, really become more consistent, was throwing it much more effectively in practice. But it kind of makes you wonder how much trust there is there still. Opposing defenses, when they scout the offense, they go through all kinds of stuff, right? Like they are really thorough week to week. And they're all going to look at Mike Wright and his history and even maybe study a little bit of it on film of his history playing quarterback, throwing a ball at Vanderbilt. What was he successful doing throwing a ball at Vanderbilt? His numbers were not that bad. Now, not great. They didn't blow the doors off, but they weren't that bad. He started 10 games one year and 10 games another year for Vanderbilt. So started 20 games across 2 seasons. And in those 20 games, he threw for 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 10 picks. Okay, so 1,000 yards a year. What is that, 100 yards a game, average. Okay, 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So he was 2-to-1 touchdown to interception across 20 games, which is pretty good in terms of, efficiency. It's decent. It's like, again, it's not terrible. And so you're talking about an average of a touchdown a game, throwing the ball. And a lot of that's against SEC competition. So that's pretty good. So it's not like he can't. And opposing defenses know that. So you're going to use that stuff at the right time. I just wonder, how and when you work him in there. You know, the other night against South Carolina, they put him in there on the goal line, which to me, that's really obvious that certain short yardage things in goal line situations where the defense has the advantage of crunching everything down. Now he becomes an extra weapon for you. They have to defend it. He read it perfectly. You get one block, walks it in the end zone, and that shows you what he can do and how you can use him. And everybody expected to use him that way. You've also played 4 games, and in 2 of those, you hardly ran any plays. 56 plays against Arizona, 50 against LSU. Really, in either of those games, you were so out of whack from a play calling and just staying on the field standpoint that you really couldn't get into any kind of flow that you would have even planned on. And so I think my answer to you would be, yeah, I do believe that they could afford to play him a little more in certain spots. But the caveat to that is it's really obvious to me that they know very clearly what he can and can't do and what they are comfortable with him doing and what they aren't comfortable with him doing. And they'll use him accordingly. I mean, that's really clear to me. All right, Chase, you text the show, and I got your text yesterday. And we covered it. It might have been a little later after you sent it, so maybe you didn't hear it. Chase text, and his question was, why is it that Mississippi State's defense seems to be playing such soft coverage on 3rd and long situations? He says, I feel like they've allowed teams to continue drives by picking up an easy first down due to the linebackers dropping deeper than the sticks. And you have seen that a good bit. And I think it is something you have to address. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, so I won't go through the entire exercise again, but even if you just use the last 2 games, LSU, South Carolina, for example, plenty of examples of 3rd and even medium, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, where you drop you might show pressure and back off of it, drop into a zone coverage, but the underneath part of your coverage, which is primarily linebackers and maybe that nickel, would actually sag the underneath coverage in zone past the line to gain and giving up the underneath dump down to a running back or in the middle of the tight end. And what I said is the easiest throw on the field for a quarterback, other than screen passes, which are really short behind the line of scrimmage, bubble screens and that kind of thing, the easiest throw is the one that's right in front of you, like right here, right in front of me. It's the shortest, easiest, clearest throw. Even if the ball's in the middle, but let alone if it's on the opposite hash. If I'm on the left hash and I'm throwing something to far right sideline, ball's in the air longer, the angles are a little different. It's harder to tell the momentum of defenders. It's harder to tell how quickly they're going to close the gap. It's harder to tell, are they in my throwing lane or not? That takes practice, all that kind of stuff. Deep balls, obviously, balls in the air a long time, those are lower percentage throws. But the easiest throw to make for any quarterback is, I've got a throwing lane so my vision isn't obstructed. The linebackers have dropped, either split in the middle of the field in zone coverage, or they have dropped, and it's just me and the running back at 7 yards, or me and the tight end on a curl route. That's the easiest throw there is. I don't have to turn my hips. I don't have to turn my shoulders. I just, right there. So my thinking is, whether it's 3rd and medium or 3rd and long, the middle is what you got to take away. You got to take that away. Take away the easy throw, make it be a hard throw. If a guy makes a hard throw, that's what the NFL does so well and so constantly. And of course, they have so much better athletes and pros, right? But they'll decide, number one, what's the easiest throw? But number two, what's the one that this guy makes really well? They'll look at his whole history. What's the throw that he's most confident making? He makes that throw really well versus which throw and which spots on the field does he have the least success and he has the hardest time getting the ball into. We'll give him that. Well, at the college level, I know you're not trying to give up the deep sideline, but the ball's in the air a long time right there. Make him make that throw. Don't give him the 6-yard dump to a running back where the running back catches it. Okay, at 6 yards, it's 3rd and 7. He turns around, falls down for a first down before they even get him because his coverage is dropped. Take that away. Easier said than done, but it is a nice, clear picture of something that you do have to stop that. You got to quit that. All right. Rebel Tiger Dog, text the show. Country Pleasing text line. He says, since y'all are off football topics, this was a while ago. Did you happen to catch the intro to Monday Night Football the other night? See, when you say intro to Monday Night Football, this is what I think of. All right, and I know that's not what you're talking about. That'd be the Monday Night theme song. You're talking about when they have the musical thing ahead of time, like they used to have, what was it, Hank Williams Jr.? Are you ready for some football? You know, and you had somebody else doing one. He says it was Chris Stapleton singing the Phil Collins song In the Air Tonight. And he goes on to say, he said, I'll be dang if old Chris isn't better than Phil with that song. Check it out if you haven't heard him. And who the heck is this Swift girl Kelsey is messing with? Go Dogs, roll off the cliff tide. That's from Rebel Tiger Dog. Yeah, the Swifties are taking over football. Beaver and I have been talking about that. Now she's going to, like they're saying that Taylor Swift, ought to get her nation involved in eliminating the tomahawk chop, right? No, I didn't hear it, and I will look it up on YouTube. I'll look for a replay of Chris Stapleton doing the Monday Night Football thing. I admitted this yesterday. I'll just go ahead and just straight up admit it. But I was doing stuff, working on some things Monday night, and I just completely and utterly forgot, that Monday Night Football was on. I did forget. I tell you what I didn't forget. You know, the other day I told you how much better my coffee was out of my thermos after I had heated it up and started boiling it on the stove to get it really hot before I poured it in here? The last few days I forgot to do that, but today I didn't forget it. So this mug right here that I hold in my hand is full of really hot coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany. That's their logo right there, by the way. High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. Get your coffee right there. Go to highpointroasters.com. It is so much better when it is really, really hot. Like almost can't drink it that hot. Phew. It's better. Phew. Man, am I thankful for hot coffee. All right, hour one rolling along. Got news from the college football world, including here in the SEC, a future opponent for both State and Ole Miss. They got a little news today at quarterback. I'll tell you what and who coming up. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
Have you ever wished for one product that would clean and shine almost everything in your house? Here it is, Clean and Shine. Like magic, Clean and Shine leaves a nice shine on fine wood furniture, so you don't need furniture polish. It cleans and shines mirrors, so you don't need glass cleaner for mirrors. It cleans and shines refrigerators, like this kitchen product. Even countertops, tile, and vinyl. Try new Clean and Shine, the foam that cleans and shines almost everything in your house.
Someday when people look at me, they'll say, there goes Roy Hobbs, the best there ever was.
TriStar Pictures presents Robert Redford in The Natural, the story of a father and a son.
You got a gift, Roy, but it's not enough.
Of love.
He means the world to me.
And desire.
I'm not waiting for true love to come along, Roy.
A champion.
Roy Hobbs comes along once, maybe twice in everybody's lifetime.
And his destiny.
With or without the records, they'll remember you.
Best there is now, and best there ever will be.
I wouldn't bet against me.
I already have.
Robert Redford, Robert Duvall, Glenn Close, Kim Basinger, Wilford Brimley, Barbara Hershey, Robert Prosky, and Richard Farnsworth as Red. The Natural.
Do you know me? Would you believe I'm Bugs Bunny? I'm also the voice of many other cartoon characters. But in here, they don't care if I'm Elmer Fudd. So I carry an American Express card, the one card I need for travel and entertaining, for business and pleasure. Why, without this, the only way I'd get any attention is by saying, that's all, folks.
To apply for a card, call 800-528-8000.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
The following is a presentation of TBS Sports. Exclusively on Superstation TBS. Superstation TBS presents the Atlanta Braves, America's team. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. This Bud's for you. By the official airline of the Atlanta Braves, Delta. We love to fly, and it shows. And by Eckerd Drugs, America's family drugstore.
If a man you've never met before suddenly gives you flowers, that's elation. The exciting new fragrance from Impulse.
Thursday, it's Cosby starting off a night of family fun. And leave it to Family Ties to keep the laughs coming.
Oh, no. What are we going to do? Everything's under control.
Then on Cheers, will Norm think on a friend to get a promotion?
Yes, Stone. Yes.
And the fun continues with Night Court.
I'm here to strip for Dan Fielding.
Thursday.
Oh, what a meal, oh,
Hamburger Helper Lasagna.
for your family.
Authentic Italian taste.
Hearty robusto, but not too spicy, eh?
Hamburger Helper Lasagna turns your plain hamburger into a delicious Italian meal with authentic Italian taste. Curly Italian noodles, rich tomato sauce, and a better blend of spices.
Hamburger helper. Lasagna.
Helper, hamburger helper.
Make a great.
Back with you, I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. What did Jimmy say here? Jimmy said ESPN also played a portion of Dolly Parton and Chris Stapleton singing Night Moves. Jimmy, what are you talking about? On the Monday Night Football deal? So wait a minute. You're telling me that Dolly Parton is also a part of the Monday Night Football intro? Okay, because if she is, now we're on to something. You know, it's like you mentioned Chris Stapleton. I kind of know who that is. I don't really listen to his music, and I probably should, but I kind of know who that is. Okay, everybody knows who Dolly Parton is, and I'm a big fan. So if she's in on it, Jimmy, if that's what you're saying, then I'm in. I got to go check this out. That was Jimmy's comment, by the way, on the live thread. He's on YouTube watching the live stream. The Murray West live thread. Go to murraywest.com. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi going back to 1996. Custom apparel, everything. Go to their website and look at some of the folks they do work for. It's really impressive. Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others. Right there at murraywest.com, MURRY West.com. Okay, Jimmy also commented and said they were previewing a song off of her upcoming album. Is she not amazing? I mean, Dolly, she is amazing. Dolly Parton is amazing. Still doing it. Got a new album coming out. Who's got more songs recorded out there, Elvis or Dolly? Ooh, now that's a good question. Don't have the answer to it, but I would love to know the answer to that one. White Denzel texts the show on the Country Pleasing text line. The most impressive text I've gotten all week long was yesterday when White Denzel sent us the graphic that apparently there's smoke out there. There's rumors out there that The Office is reportedly getting a reboot, which that's been the best one we've gotten so far. He says the Monday Night Football theme song is good, but Stapleton didn't do it as good as Phil Collins. Okay. What's Phil Collins up to? They couldn't get him to do it? Or is he just too old? That's another thing about getting old is the people that we see as big stars and current younger generation doesn't even know who they are. Does not even know who they are. Yeah, and then I'm back over to the live thread one more time, the Murray West live thread. Jason is watching the show. He's on YouTube now, and it's our boy, Jason, out in Flagstaff, Arizona, and he says, now I want some hamburger helper. He saw the classic commercial, the hamburger helper commercial. I want it too, Jason. Every time I see that old hamburger helper commercial with the little glove that talks, you know, every time I see that, I want some. Hey, I told you there's news, and then I'm coming to the phone just as real quick. You know, both State and Ole Miss, you got Texas A&M coming up on your schedule. They lost their starting quarterback for the season. It was confirmed today. You know, rumors about it since Saturday. They had to make a quarterback change in their win over Auburn. From Connor Wegman, who started the game. They put in Max Johnson, the lefty, who transferred there from LSU and used to be their starter, and became the backup. And now he's their starter again because Wegman got a hurt foot, and now he's out for the year, whatever it is. So A&M will be moving forward with Max Johnson as their QB. And let's see who they get. You know, A&M still got Alabama, Ole Miss, State. Everybody, they'll host State. I don't know where Ole Miss plays them, but yeah. That was what I was going to pass along to you. All right, now over to the phone line, the Divinity Equipment phone line. Divinity Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer, the oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S., in fact. Means they've been doing it better, longer than anyone else right here at home at Divinity. On line one, Houston. What's up, Houston? Thanks for calling.
Hey Matt. Well, thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
And first and foremost, I don't want to sound like a coach, but I want to see if we can move Marcus Banks to corner to get a little bit more depth and speed, because I know Alabama's going to go to Isaiah Bond. They're going to put him in the slot, and I know that it's tough, but I would much rather be better at corner than I would be at safety. I mean, regardless, we're going to get beat either way on plays sometimes. I mean, you can't shut them down all the time. You just got to be able to contain it.
Yeah.
And that's the point I'm trying to make here, is if we can just kind of make Alabama one-dimensional, we've got a better shot than people think.
Yeah.
And
okay. All right. Well, and what I would say, Houston, obviously Banks, the Alabama transfer, is a former corner, you know, and State really kind of using him at a couple of different safety positions, depending on the call, that nickel and that sort of, you know, a free safety position. But, you know what, you know, I know, are you saying that because, you know, you've come out of this South Carolina game when DeCarlos Nicholson got burnt a couple of times in coverage? Is that why you're saying that?
No. That was just a great throw. And obviously Spencer Radley did a great job, but, geez, the referees just kind of let some of the whistles go, it seemed, in that game early. But, you know, holding can be called on every play. But I just feel like that if our team can just get a better start, we'd like to be man-to-man, but we've got to have better edge pressure, you know. And so sometimes, you know, get Deontay Anderson in there, and maybe we need to move to a four-man front. I don't know.
Yeah.
we just got to get off to a better start, because this is one of these times where we can strike Alabama. And another thing I would do is I would go more up tempo. Alabama team seems to struggle with more up tempo in the past. That's when they've been beaten. And I think we're on the cusp of being really, really good offensively. We just have to be more determined and defend our home field. And it doesn't matter if we haven't beat them since 2007. It's time to beat Alabama, and I think we can Coach Arnett needs a signature win, and I think he can get it this weekend.
Really good stuff, Houston. Really good call, man. It's great to hear your voice, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you're doing well. You know, there's a lot there. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do, Houston. You got a couple of thoughts there, and I'm going to jot them down. All right, so the first thing is you mentioned hurry up, okay, and how sometimes that's been good against Alabama defenses, or it's helped teams at least get going. All right, hurry up. And one thing we got to talk about is if you're going to go hurry up, if you're going to have a plan to sort of hurry up your offense, go no huddle, and kind of speed them up, then you have to be good on first down. You can't run some sort of up-tempo offense if you aren't good on first down and get ahead of the chains and get going. So that's the first thing. The other thing you mentioned was, you know, a signature win for Arnett. Now, obviously, you know, he hadn't had a lot of time to get it right. So he's in his first year, just has been a head coach for a few games now. I guess 5 games now, including the bowl game. But it does bring up a thought that I want to cover with you. It's going to take a little more time than we have right now before the end of the hour. But thankfully, we have hour 2 of the show coming up. And that is this. I want you to think about this. When you don't just look at the changes going on in college football with name, image, and likeness, okay, and attracting players that way. With open transfer portal, attracting players that way. Let's go up a little higher and look from a bigger, broader view and think about the entire world of college football, okay, which also will include conference realignment, moving parts aligning for this seismic shift in the entire model that is coming, and how that relates to television and how important television and television audiences and the television product is for that. I may be confusing you. Think of it like this. The college football that we understand, where colleges have a campus, they give classes, you give free education, along with whatever else, and attract a player to choose to come to school and play for you, okay, in their own scholarship, okay, and they play and try to graduate, and I know that's changing. That model, y'all, it's as good as dead. I don't know if you realize it or not. It's as good as dead. The old idea of they come to school here, we recruit an 85-man roster, and they come to school here as a part of what they're doing, okay? And they stick with us, and, you know, and there's a little bit of transferring, and then we get some transfers, but the model is it's a college model, it's a collegiate model. It's dead with a capital D. All this stuff's going to change, and television product and television viewers and stuff is going to be really important, and it is fueling the conference realignment. Think about those things, and we're going to come back and talk about what a school like Mississippi State's got to do. What do they have to do going forward? Not just to survive, but if you want to thrive a little bit, what do you have to do? Stick around. We'll talk about that in hour 2 coming up.
Thursday, it's Cosby starting off a night of family fun. And leave it to Family Ties to keep the laughs coming.
Oh, no. What are we going to do? Everything's under control.
Then on Cheers, will Norm think on a friend to get a promotion?
Yeah, yes, Stum. Yes.
And the fun continues with Night Court. Thursday.
For over half a century, dairymen have tried to capture in cans the flavor of pure, fresh milk. And now Foremost has discovered the secret with an evaporated milk that's closest by far to fresh milk itself.
Kind of hard to believe, isn't it? An evaporated milk that doesn't have that old-fashioned evaporated milk taste. But it's true, and you can prove it. You know how most evaporated milks taste in coffee. The flavor goes flat. But try Foremost. You'll see it's white, the way milk ought to look, not drab tan like other brands. And when you taste it, well, if you're anything like me, you'll never even know it isn't pure, fresh cream. You try it and see. That's Foremost, the closest thing in cans to pure, fresh milk. Remember, your family gets the most from Foremost.
Coca-Cola, come on, girl. Gotta share a Coke with you. Let the feeling show through. You wanna live a little bit more. That's what the taste of Coke is for. Coke adds life. Everybody wants a little life. Coca-Cola, Coke adds life. Everybody wants.
Come on, Harry, come on. We're getting our picture taken.
Special moments. Times of your life you'll want to remember. In pictures.
Smile, Howard. Smile.
To help make those pictures look as good as they can, make sure Kodak paper is behind them. If you don't see these words, it isn't Kodak paper. Just look for this sign when you get your pictures. Kodak paper, for a good look at the times of your life.
See, wasn't that fun?
Come and get it. Come and get it.
Stop the confusion. Stop the confusion. Everybody wants to get into the act with Kellogg's Variety Pack. Buster wants the cornflakes. Pop wants a pep. Mama loves the Raisin Bran. Mama is hip. Sister loves Rice Krispies. And there's Uncle Jack. He loves Kellogg's shredded wheat. Kellogg's makes it fun to eat. Breakfast with Variety Pack. Okay, folks, there's your favorite individual box of cereal, fresh from Kellogg's Variety Pack, untouched by human hands, except your own. That don't mean you gotta eat with them. Each individual box comes to you FOD, fresh on delivery from Battle Creek, right to your own dish. Yeah, everybody wants to get into the act with Kellogg's Variety Pack. Yes, sir, Kellogg's Variety Pack.
Here comes the one, the delicious one. Heinz is the big rich one. There's only one ketchup with this flavor pouring on. So thick, so rich, so second to none.
Only one ketchup stands for this kind of thickness with this kind of taste. Heinz.
Heinz is the big rich one.
I love the rich, whole wheat goodness of Kellogg's Mini Wheats. But the delicious frosted side makes the rich kid in me open wide.
The nutritious shredded wheat helps keep me on my toes. But the little ballerina in me thinks the taste steals the show.
Kellogg's Mini Wheats, wholesome shredded wheat for the adult in you, great taste for the kid in you. So they're delicious and nutritious.
The whole grain wheat really packs a crunch, but the delicious taste gives it just the right punch.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Today's game from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Time was, their breakfasts were gloomy. They just didn't feel right, and they didn't know a delicious cereal could help their sad plight. So they tried this and tried that, but irregularity kept coming back all the same. For as often the case, lack of bulk in their diet was actually to blame. Once at the grocer's, the wife was so drooping and sagging that a neighbor said, "Get on Kellogg's All-Bran wagon. Why, All-Bran has a flavor that's scrumptious to eat. So rich and nut-like, makes breakfast a treat. And of course, Kellogg's All-Bran can help you each day to youthful regularity, the dietary way." "Well, it might do some good," said the wife with a sigh. "Guess I'll get some All-Bran and give it a try." Soon, breakfasts at her house were happy and bright, for delicious Kellogg's All-Bran set their day off right. Yes, All Bran supplies all the bulk in your diet, you see, that you may need for youthful regularity. And no half-brand cereal possible.
1059 and worldwide.
Now, here we go.
At thezone1059.com.
All right. Hour number 2 off and running with you here in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team, they are your home team. I'm Matt. Beaver is here running this thing. He's driving this bus, and he's going to get you in your driveway, pull into your driveway safely in about an hour from now. Safe and sound. It's good to have a good, experienced bus driver around here on this struggle bus. You ever heard of the struggle bus? We're on the struggle bus, but we got a good driver. His name is Beaver. Thank goodness you're here too, and you can be a part of the show in lots of different ways. You can call the Davini phone. You can text the Country Pleasing text line. You can comment on the Murray West live thread on the live stream if you're over there watching. One of the things that Houston brought up when he called there at the end of hour 1 was he wanted Marcus Banks to move from his safety position back to corner, the position he used to play. Jimmy says on the Murray West live thread, we're so thin at safety we can't move Marcus Banks. And you are kind of thin. You're kind of young there, right? Like it's probably the least experience in your depth of maybe any position on the team, because the rest of it's really got a lot of experience. And we've talked that, experience angle till we're blue in the face. But you look at it, you got Sean Preston, who's played a bunch of football, very experienced guy, very good player. But after that, not a ton of experience at safety. And you saw the other night, I thought you did see the other night the difference in the defense just sort of overall without Sean Preston in the first half and with him in the second. It's a different thing. Like he's a real deal. By the way, he's got a brother who plays on this Alabama team. And I saw the Mr. and Mrs. Preston at one of the dog walk deals for one of the early home games. They were watching Sean walk through, and so they'll have a nice experience this weekend. They'll have both boys in the stadium, one on each sideline. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see that as a need. I think that they, from a personnel standpoint, they really do know what they need, and they made that decision early. And I think having Banks at safety is a really good thing for the team. And I think that Nicholson is going to be fine. He does a lot of really good things and has in the times that he's been in there. Whether or not he's your fastest or one of your fastest, I don't know. But you see a team like South Carolina the other night. They're staying away from DeCamerion Richardson on the other side and going after most teams are doing that. They're staying away from Richardson and going after the other side, whether it's Furge or Nicholson in there at the other corner. DeCarlos has done some good things, some good tackles. He's a physical player. He had a really heads-up play on that 2-point conversion the other night where they were trying to do a throwback to a tight end, and he read it, came over there and got it, batted it away. And when I went back and watched it, I even thought, it almost looked like he assumed that he had to bat that thing away, and he probably could have gone and caught it. And had he caught it out there, there's nobody anywhere. Like he'd have run 100 yards and scored 2 points for his team very easily. But, you're just glad that he batted it away. So that was one thing that he brought up. Okay, but here's a couple other things, and we're going to get to these in Houston's call. Okay, he mentioned going hurry up. He wants to see State's offense go quickly. And if you're going to be an up-tempo offense, one thing you're going to have to be is pretty good on first down. State's offense has, each week of the season, gone a little hurry up. They didn't much against LSU because it was just 3 and out after 3 and out. But in some of the other games, they've put it in fifth gear and gone fast some, particularly in that first week. And I like seeing it as well. I'm with you on that, Houston. I like seeing it when you can do it. But you got to make yards on first down to get into it. You have to be having a good day on first down to go to it. You can't go out there and go incomplete on first down and go hurry up. You can't go loss of yardage on first down and then start speeding up. You got to make yards and be good on first down. State made a point of that going into the South Carolina game. Rightfully so. Their coaches pointed out, Barbay pointed out, a lot of the issue was being bad enough on first down that you get against the chains, and then we couldn't get out of it. So it was sort of a point of emphasis for them, and they still were not great on first down against South Carolina. It covered it up a little bit by getting some man-to-man opportunities and just bombing it over their head in the ball game to Tulu, who broke a school record for single game receiving yards. But you're not going to get those kind of opportunities every week. And the numbers said this. This is just the South Carolina game, for instance, okay? And I talk about being better on first down. Remember that the numbers I'm about to give you came for State's offense against, statistically, the worst defense in the SEC to this point. Okay, you just got to consider that. State ran 30 plays on first down, meaning there was a 1 on the stick over there, whether that was the start of a drive or during the course of a drive, they got a first down. But when it said 1 on the stick, they ran 30 plays right there. You got a first down. They made 95 yards. But here's the real stat. Against South Carolina, rushing the ball. 12 times State ran the ball on first down. They made 23 yards. That's less than 2 yards a carry on first down. First down runs, 12 for 23 yards, 1.9 yards per carry. And you're like, well, that means they got most of their first down yards throwing the ball. They did. 23 yards rushing on first down, 72 passing, but that was 7 of 16 passing on first down. As good as State was throwing a ball the other night, they threw it for almost 500 yards. They completed less than 50% of their first down throws. So I guess what I'm saying is, Houston, whether you're playing Alabama, a great defense, or South Carolina, a not great defense, if you only rush for 1.9 yards per carry on first down, and you complete well under 50% of your throws on first down, you're not giving yourself a chance to run an up-tempo offense. You can't do it. You just can't. Now, again, to their credit, other downs, second, third downs, they bombed away and hit those throws, and Tulu went off. They couldn't cover him. And to Will Rogers' credit, he was dialed in. You gave him any time at all, he found number 5 down the field and put it on him. And they gave themselves a chance. They scored 30 points on the road on a night when you give up 37. But you can't go hurry up, and you can't even really get into what feels like a balanced rhythm playing calls if you're that bad on first down. That's just all there is to it. And what kind of stat is that? As much as anything else, that's an offensive line stat. That's what that is. All right, over to the phone line, the Davini Equipment phone line. Open your arms like this. Clamp them together. And before you know it, you're doing the Gator Chomp. On line 1, he is Gator Greg. Thanks for calling, Greg. What's up?
Well, Mr. Wyatt, I know you don't only focus on the East when Mississippi State plays them, and then, of course, that'd be Kentucky. So I want you to give me a little preview. I don't know if you've seen Kentucky. You have to deal with them later on.
Yeah.
The Gators have them this week. Florida wins that game, they'd be 2-0 in the SEC East. They would have won 2 more games than I thought they were going to win in the SEC this year. They'd be 2-6 at least. And then another game, you saw South Carolina. They get to play the big, bad Tennessee Vols, a team that I think a lot of people was high on, but Florida may really look bad, and I was surprised. The quarterback matchup, you have Joe Milton and you have Spencer Rattler. Tell me what you look for in those games. We'll talk about SEC West later in the week, but tell me what you think about these SEC East games. And like I said, Mr. Wyatt, I think your team is playing hard. Just get through this first part of the season, get to the bye week, with a good, decent record, and I think you're going to do some damage the second half of the year. Appreciate you, and you have a good show.
Appreciate the call, Greg. As always, good to hear from you. Go Gators! All right, appreciate the call from Gator Greg. All right, Kentucky 4-0, and they're going to host Florida this weekend. Kentucky 4-0. Who have they beaten? They beat Ball State in the season opener, beat them 44-14. Ball State is 1-3. They've given up over 40 points in 3 losses, and they beat Indiana State, the Sycamores, who had a really good baseball team, got a terrible football team. Kentucky beat Eastern Kentucky in week 2 and struggled. Beat them 28-17. Eastern Kentucky has won 1 ball game. Losses to Cincinnati, Kentucky, Western Carolina. They beat Southeast Missouri in a shootout, 41-38. Kentucky should not get any credit for struggling at home against Eastern Kentucky. Then they beat Joe Moorhead's Akron team. They beat Akron 35-3. The Akron Zips this year are 1-3. With losses to Temple, a 3-point win over Morgan State, demolished by Kentucky, couldn't move it, and then they lost to Indiana. They were competitive this past week, 29-27 at Indiana. They're 1-3. So we've looked at 3 Kentucky opponents who are a combined 3-9 so far. And then this past week, Kentucky beat Vanderbilt 45-28. Vanderbilt won their first 2. They've lost 3 in a row. They struggled with Hawaii. Remember that in the opener, won it. They whipped up on Alabama A&M from the SWAC. They had a loss now to Wake Forest, to UNLV, and to Kentucky. They gave up 40 to UNLV the week before, gave up 45 to Kentucky. The fact that I'm pointing out here is Kentucky is 4-0, but it is definitely some fool's gold in that 4-0. Not that they've played poorly except for that one game, but there's some fool's gold there for you. And look at what Kentucky has next. Host Florida. Travel to Georgia. Host Missouri. Host Tennessee. So 3 of the next 4 at home, but all 4 of those are ranked teams, all 4 SEC teams. And the one road game's at Georgia. And Florida, can certainly go in there and win that game. And really, Greg, it does feel like, for Kentucky, a lot of what happens to them and what's going to happen to them has a lot to do with this weekend. You win that Florida game, they're 5-0. They feel great about themselves going to Georgia, put up a showing but lose, and then beat Missouri and maybe give a chance against Tennessee. But you lose that one this weekend, it's 2 in a row because you ain't beating Georgia. And you lose 2 in a row, and then now you're looking at maybe 3 or 4 in a row, and it's uh-oh time. So this one is a swing game for sure for Kentucky. On the Country Pleasing text line, ResDog says, I think, and this goes for Ole Miss too, the talent gap particularly. Wait, no, I'm reading Jason. This is Jason in Flagstaff. He says, I think this goes for Ole Miss too. The talent gap, particularly on the lines of scrimmage, is much better in Alabama's favor. So much so that you almost have to pick 2 or 3 plays that you can execute perfectly and run in your sleep and just go with that. Trying to do too much, making mistakes, just gets you ground into the dust. That's it. And there is no question about that. And ResDog did say, I'd find a way to blitz Preston more, Sean Preston, and keep your linebackers in the middle of the field. And they did some of that. They've done some of that, not a lot of it, but a little bit of it each week, even the last 2 weeks. Now, on the Murray West live thread, Jimmy said, I agree with Gator Greg. Matt focuses on the SEC East too much. You probably meant West. Focused on the West too much. I do. That's where my team plays, in the West. So I probably focus on them a little bit too much. All right. Now, back. So I covered the first down thing and going hurry up. Houston also mentioned a signature win for Zach Arnett. Now, I was thinking about something. This lit the light bulb up for me because I was thinking about it earlier today. Oh, okay, Jimmy, you meant the East? All right, so the amount of SEC East talk we already have is too much. You'd rather have less. Hard to get less. Okay, I got you. What about a signature win? All right, so Zach Arnett is about to coach his 6th game as a head coach. He's got 4 games here in the regular season and the bowl game, so 5 games under his belt as the head coach. And my question for you was, take it a step further, more so than a signature win for him. Like, what would it do? What would, in the current climate, let's look at it this way, in the current climate of college football, all the change, NIL, you got, the NIL world you have right now is, hey, we demand that the fan base fund our rosters. So we want the fan base to give us all their money. Donate your money because we got a good thing going. We'll go get players with it, and you'll really enjoy it as a fan base. All right? So you got that going on. Transfer portal. Hey, come play for us. If you're in the portal, come play for us. You got to give them a reason to come play for you. You got to give people a reason to watch you on TV. If people watch you on TV and you have a little excitement going, then you become one of the media darlings because the media, TV networks, are surviving solely on live sports. They're not surviving on anything else. So my question for you is, what would a win over Alabama do for a team and a program like State? Now, we can sit here and argue whether it's a 1% chance or a 21% chance. I'll tell you this, it ain't much of a chance. But if they were to pull it off, what would it do for a program in this climate and in this atmosphere? Here's what I'm saying to you. Here's what I'm driving at, okay, instead of just throwing out rhetoricals. Here's what I'm driving at. We are staring at a scenario with the shifting of the tectonic plates in college football, meaning teams are getting left behind. Whether or not it can happen in the SEC, I don't know, ask a lawyer. But I know it happened in the Pac-12. There is no Pac-12 anymore. USC, UCLA left to go to the Big Ten. Others left. There ain't but 2 of them left. Oregon State and Washington State, and it's 2 really good football teams and really prominent universities. 2 ranked teams, really good teams. Either one of those teams could, or you could even would likely beat State and Ole Miss. They're left out in the cold. Now, they're on the West Coast. It's a different TV thing, I know. They're left out. Could it happen to you? Now, that's a scary thought. That is an unpleasant thought. That's the kind of thought you say it in front of some people. They go, Matt, why would you bring that up? Well, why do you check your checking account balance? Sometimes that ain't pretty either. Why do you check your 401k during a downturn or a depression? That ain't pretty either. Why do you check it? I'm just asking the question. You have to ask the question. Could what's happening to some of these others, could that happen to you? If there is a chance it could, what do you do? What do you do to prevent it? What position nowadays must you put yourself in? And I could argue good or bad. A lot of the stuff that's going on is bad. A lot of it's not healthy, but it's happening. It's a reality. So listen to this. As these plates begin to shift and things begin to change, the old college model is gone. It's dead. The idea of I go and accept a scholarship, meaning they're going to pay for all my school and I play football for them and I get my education as a result. It's over. It's done. The end at the major college level. At the SEC level, forget it. Dead. Dead as a doornail. Whatever it's moving toward is going to be massively different. Whatever this whole thing in State, you're in it right now. You're in the basket that's being shoved down this direction. Ole Miss, you're in with the folks that are being shoved down this direction. It is going to be largely driven by entertainment decisions, entertainment dollars, therefore television dollars, therefore television and all it wants, which is what? Attention and viewers. Why do they put Pat McAfee on game day and take David, what's his name, off? Because Some people like me like the analysis, but we don't know his last name. He's not getting enough clicks. He may be a great analyst. But McAfee says bad words. And that'll cause lots of idiots out here to go click, 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 click. Let's watch. Why do they put him on there? Why is Deion Sanders at Colorado a big media phenomenon? Loads of attention, right? Would you say that Colorado now, as opposed to last year and the year before, is in a much better position to move with the power and the elites on this shift towards entertainment and shift away from the collegiate model? Of course they are. Why? Because of Deion Sanders. Why? Because of Deion Sanders. He is instant entertainment. You can say, well, he just got blown out by Oregon. They don't care. Do you think ESPN cares what the score is of the game, the actual game? They don't care. The ratings come in after the game's over. We want to know who tuned in and for what reason. Hey, us reality people, old folks, we can look down our nose at running your mouth, some of Colorado's players chirping at the Oregon players before the game and telling them that they were going to beat them up and beat their coach up and all that, and then losing by 40 points. We can look down our nose at that. The entertainment people don't care. They get the clicks. They get the viewers. They get the dollars. They get the attention. Going forward in college football, you are in the entertainment business. You'd better be entertainment or you going to get left behind. That's the reality. You better start figuring that out now. Stick around.
Today's game from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Time was, their breakfasts were gloomy. They just didn't feel right, and they didn't know a delicious cereal could help their sad plight. So they tried this and tried that, but irregularity kept coming back all the same. For as often the case, lack of bulk in their diet was actually to blame. Once at the grocer's, the wife was so drooping and sagging that a neighbor said, "Get on Kellogg's All-Bran wagon. Why, All-Bran has a flavor that's scrumptious to eat. So rich and nut-like, makes breakfast a treat. And of course, Kellogg's All-Bran can help you each day to youthful regularity, the dietary way." "Well, it might do some good," said the wife with a sigh. "Guess I'll get some All-Bran and give it a try." Soon, breakfasts at her house were happy and bright, for delicious Kellogg's All-Bran set their day off right. Yes, All-Bran supplies all the bulk in your diet, you see, that you may need for youthful regularity. And no half-brand cereal possibly can provide this help as surely as Kellogg's All-Bran. A delicious, non-habit-forming aid to your diet. You're sure to like All-Bran. Just buy it and try it.
Get on the Kellogg's All-Bran wagon with the best bran in the land. The cereal that tastes grand, the cereal that's All-Bran, a breakfast treat that can't be beat. Be a regular guy and climb aboard the All-Bran wagon. Eat Kellogg's All-Bran.
What is the secret of this enchanted book? What wonders are hidden within its pages? What magical spell does it cast on all who read it? What is the secret of the never-ending story?
But that's impossible!
You will enter Enter a world where a young boy's imagination becomes a vivid reality. The world of Atreyu and Artax, the Rockbiter, and a good and kind gnome. A world that is vast and eternal, treacherous and dazzling, unforgettable and free. For anyone who's ever made a wish, believed in a fantasy, or had a dream, this is the never-ending story.
It's a new thing. It's a fun thing. It's a swing wing.
It's a what?
It's a swing wing. It's a wing wing. A brand new transparent fun thing.
It's a what?
It's a swing wing. A fun thing. And now it's your favorite store thing.
It's a what?
Mazda announces some great news for truck buyers. Right now, you can beat the already outstanding value of the $67.95 Mazda SE5. Introducing Mazda SE5 Plus 5. $625 worth of extra features at no extra charge from Mazda. You get a bed liner, mud guards, sliding rear window, floor mats, and AM/FM stereo. That's a $625 value at no extra charge. But hurry, offer ends soon.
Back with you. Here we go. Rolling along here with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team regarding like what would, how big of a deal would it be if you pull off this upset? And that's certainly what it would be. Jimmy says, there's never been a time in Mississippi State's history when a win over Alabama wasn't a big deal. It's absolutely true. So it'd be a big deal. That, there's no question it would be a big deal. But you have a product now more than ever is driven by television. More than ever. So, Jimmy, you say on the Murray West live thread, there's never been a time in State's history when beating Alabama wasn't a big deal. No, you're right. It's always been a big deal, but it's been a big deal for different reasons. There's never been a time where you were looking at it going, man, you don't have a responsible college football media conglomerate out there covering the sport. You don't have that anymore. They're all, scratching and clawing to make payroll. Look it up. I'm not exaggerating. Listen, think about this. Why do you think all these ESPN writers have for the last 3-4 days just been blowing the story up about how many people watched Colorado versus Oregon and how many people watched, even some of them talking about how many people watched Notre Dame play Ohio State on NBC? Why do you think they're just blowing that up? I mean, one, is good, but they won't talk about the fact of why are more people watching it on TV? Well, the reason is it's all about doing everything they can. It's not necessarily covering the sport. No, their job is to promote it, to drive it. You think they're going to promote teams that don't get attention? I mean, Ole Miss is a great example. I think Ole Miss is a great example of this. Name a team that has had less big wins and more media attention recently than Ole Miss. Name one. I can think of one. What would your answer be? In fact, I won't answer it. I will wait and see what you answer. Comment on the live stream if you're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Text me on the Country Please and text line. The number to text, 885-3776. There aren't many. I can name one. Can you name some? Less wins-losses traction, paired with more media traction than Ole Miss recently. You know why it is? Because Lane Kiffin's interesting. And some people argue, well, Ole Miss as a university and journalism school over the years has done a better job of placing, friendly people or even alumni in certain media positions. Well, maybe so. Okay, maybe so. But you can promote something all you want to until you get a following. Okay, the following is what really matters. It doesn't matter if I promote state. State would have to have a following for it to matter. So to some degree, yes. But still the point is, they're a great example of it. And it's because Lane Kiffin is a character. He's interesting. You can't, sometimes you could put, but there's controversy. Okay, I'll go back to something that came up over the last couple of days. This is related to what we're talking about here. And that is being an attention getter. See, being an attention getter used to just be for social media. Well, that's football now, college football now. You have to be an attention getter, right? You have to be interesting, compelling, right? Just being good, not really enough. You got to be loud. You got to be the bright red shirt in a room full of black suits. So what am I talking about? Think of every book you've ever read that you enjoyed. That was fiction. Well, just think of stories. Think of every great story that you really have remembered. Think of every great movie. It's your favorite movie. You know what they all have in common? Not happy endings. Some do, some don't. Not great background. Not lovable characters. Some do, some don't. You know what they all have in common? Conflict. You know what Lane Kiffin has in his past? Conflict. Right? There ain't no... Go to Tennessee. Go to Los Angeles. You can't... The needle will move one side or the other on Lane Kiffin. We love him or we hate him. Nobody has the needle right in the middle. But as long as the needle is on one extreme or the other, and it's even better when the needle is on both extremes, depending on who you ask. Conflict. It draws eyeballs. Why do you think we made such a big deal out of the Oregon coach's speech before the game? Conflict. Get everybody up in an uproar. You got people saying he's racist because he wanted to beat Deion Sanders' team. You know how stupid that is? That's the dumbest thing anybody's ever uttered on television or social media, but it's exactly what television is looking for. Conflict, controversy, major attention getting, whether you win or lose, they don't care. Now, is it right? Is it wrong? Is it healthy? Is it not? You and I can have our opinions on that, and we've got them. The point that I'm making is recognize this ball of content called college sports is ever so swiftly picking up speed here and gravitating and being pushed towards, this ain't a college thing anymore. Forget that. This is a revenue generating, attention getting machine that serves television so they will pay us money. And buddy, you let us having to take that revenue. If a court tells us that we're going to take that revenue that's going into my pocket, AD, coach, president, TV exec, host, it's been going in my pocket. We've been building facilities with it. Now I got to pay the players with it. You let a court decide that. And whatever TV is paying for that product is going to go up at the next round of contracts. And if you're going to be involved in it, if you're going to have a team involved in that entertainment world, well, by Gannies, you better be entertaining. ADs are going to start making quicker decisions. Well, we got a coach over here who's done the right thing. He's doing things the right way. He's working his tail off. He doesn't make waves. He just focuses on developing players and having relationships and recruiting and trying to win games. Yeah, but Deion Sanders brought 12 million eyeballs the first game he ever coached before we knew if they were any good or not. He had 58 new players that were somewhere else last year. Entertainment. That's where it's going. So to the question, name somebody that has had less big wins but has garnered more media attention than Ole Miss. I got one for you. Texas A&M. They hadn't got as many big wins as Ole Miss does. True story. Paying the coach a little more. Oh, we're recruiting. Somebody said Michigan. Hey, Mark on the YouTube Murray West Live thread said Michigan. Man, they have blown Michigan up this year, haven't they? Look at all these NFL players. They're going to win the national championship. Are they? Will, he's getting it. Will's getting it. I need a bell. Right now, all I've got is my bike bell that I never put on my bike here. I need to ring the bell every time somebody gets it. Will said, to your point, Matt, how many eyeballs can your team draw will become the be-all and end-all? Who cares if you go 2-10 if people watch it? Hey, what if Colorado wins one more game this year? What kind of draw are they going to be as a TV product? They continue to be a big TV draw. For sure. ResDog texts the show. He said $9 million a year for mediocre success seems very Jimbo-ish. Yes, but it is true, ResDog. It does. But I have looked at that wrong, and others have too. Hear me when you say this. To Ole Miss's credit, they recognized they weren't paying Lane Kiffin just for big wins. They're paying him for eyeballs. Part of that, a big portion of that $9 million they're paying him, who else are they going to hire that gets them the kind of attention, good or bad, that he gets them? I don't believe you ought to go through life just looking for attention. But they've pushed this college athletics things to a point where that's really all it's about. If you get wins and everything along with it, great. But to get paid and become a multimillionaire and to have a program that people will consider, all you got to do is get attention. That's it. So what would a big upset do? It'd be worth millions and millions and millions in attention. I'm Matt. Stick around.
Have you ever wished for one product that would clean and shine almost everything in your house? Here it is. Clean and Shine. Like magic, Clean and Shine leaves a nice shine on fine wood furniture, so you don't need furniture polish. It cleans and shines mirrors, so you don't need glass cleaner for mirrors. It cleans and shines refrigerators, like this kitchen product. Even countertops, tile, and vinyl. Try new Clean and Shine, the foam that cleans and shines almost everything in your house.
Someday when people look at me, they'll say, there goes Roy Hobbs, the best there ever was.
TriStar Pictures presents Robert Redford in The Natural, the story of a father and a son.
You got a gift, Roy, but it's not enough.
Of love.
He means the world to me.
And desire.
I'm not waiting for true love to come along, Roy.
A champion.
A Roy Hobbs comes along once, maybe twice in everybody's lifetime.
And his destiny.
With or without the records, they'll remember you.
Best there is now, and best there ever will be.
I wouldn't bet against me.
I already have.
Robert Redford, Robert Duvall, Glenn Close, Kim Basinger, Wilford Brimley, Barbara Hershey, Robert Prosky, and Richard Farnsworth as Red. The Natural.
Do you know me? Would you believe I'm Bugs Bunny? I'm also the voice of many other cartoon characters. But in here, they don't care if I'm Elmer Fudd. So I carry an American Express card, the one card I need for travel and entertaining, for business and pleasure. Why, without this, the only way I'd get any attention is by saying, that's all, folks.
To apply for a card, call 800-528-8000.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
The following is a presentation of TBS Sports. Exclusively on Superstation TBS. Superstation TBS presents the Atlanta Braves, America's team. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. This Bud's for you. By the official airline of the Atlanta Braves, Delta. We love to fly, and it shows. And by Eckerd Drugs, America's family drugstore.
If a man you've never met before suddenly gives you flowers, that's elation. The exciting new fragrance from Impulse. Thursday, it's Cosby starting off a night of family fun. And leave it to Family Ties to keep the laughs coming.
Oh, no. What are we going to do? Everything's under control.
Then on Cheers, will Norm fink on a friend to get a promotion?
Yes, son. Yes.
And the fun continues with Night Court.
I'm here to strip for Dan Fielding.
Thursday.
Oh, what a meal, oh,
Hamburger helper lasagna.
for your family.
Authentic Italian taste.
Hearty robusto, but not too spicy, eh?
Hamburger helper lasagna turns your plain hamburger into a delicious Italian meal with authentic Italian taste. Curly Italian noodles, rich tomato sauce, and a better blend of spices.
Hamburger helper. Lasagna.
Helper, hamburger helper.
All right. Back with you. I'm Matt in the bureau, the plush, luxurious, warm when it's cold and cool when it's hot, luxurious Farm Bureau Insurance Studios. Don't ask me where that came from. I'm afraid that I'm right about what I've been saying. I'm not emotionally behind it. I don't like it. I'm just describing what I see. And I'm pretty sure I'm right. If you can't get eyeballs and attention, even right now, this season, much less going forward, when these court cases the hammers start dropping on those, employees, revenue sharing, all this, universities can pay players. Oh, I mean, it's coming. And when all this starts happening, if you can't get eyeballs and attention and be an entertainment magnet, they're going to leave you in the dust. And unfortunately, lots of schools and universities are going to have to really sit there and decide, are we going that route or not? At the detriment of certain things, we're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. What's it going to be? Will commented, and he said Colorado might end up 6-6 and go play in the LA Bowl for some versus some Mountain West teams, but more people will watch that. He says then some of the bowl games are not part of the than every other bowl game that's not part of the playoffs. He said Colorado, he corrected it there, than every other bowl game. Will said, what hurts Mississippi State more than anything is our small fan base. Small state, smaller alumni base compared to other SEC schools. There you are. There you are. so with it all shifting, I mean, the ship is leaving the dock. And right now, there's a whole lot of folks on it. And they have a few life rafts. But not everybody on it can fit on those life rafts. You better give them a reason to put you in one of the premium suites. That's what I see coming. That's what I see coming. Well, there you go. A little bit of time left here in the show today in the Bureau. Staying connected to you because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. See, I didn't say his name first. I was just going to hit that Always Sunny music and see if it got his attention.
It did.
Hey, got him. That when you hear that, Beaver, it does make you perk on up, doesn't it? It does me too.
Yeah, because, well, A1, it's always sunny and it's always going to be great. And B2, I know by now that is Matt Wyatt's cue for me to open my gob about something.
Yeah. So I do take it one step further than Jake does. Jake just says, "Hey Beaver, what do you think about this?"
Yeah, he does. Every 4 minutes.
At least I have like a little call. I got a signal here. Hey Beaver. Okay, so this one, Beaver, is a historical nugget, and this one I don't think applies for overrated, underrated. But it's something I want to see if you recognize. It starts with this, okay? And I'm just going to give you this piece of info, and then we'll go to the others. It starts with this. A lot of people don't know this, especially young people. The Tonight Show didn't start with Johnny Carson. The Tonight Show actually began on this day, September 27th, 1954. The Tonight Show debuted on NBC with a guy named Steve Allen as the host. That was the original one in the 50s. It sounded like this.
From New York City, the National Broadcasting Company presents Tonight, starring Steve Allen. With Edie Gourmet, Steve Lawrence.
And they go through all their list of stuff. And I mean, like the intro for the original Tonight Show was just basically an announcer.
Special guests, Wally Cox, Bill Kenny of Ink Spots fame, and New York's greatest giant, Willie Mays. Just off the crossroads of the world, Times Square is NBC's Hudson Theater. That's where we're taking you now, tonight and every night. Now to meet the star of our show, Steve Allen.
Here he is. Yay, Steve Allen. It's really not really much of an intro.
Boy, we've been making last-minute changes around.
Okay, so there you go. So it started with a guy named Steve Allen. So my question for you, Beaver, is do you think you could identify and differentiate between the theme songs for the other Tonight Show hosts? The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and even when Conan O'Brien went to do the Tonight Show for a short time. Do you think if I play them, you'll be able to know which one's which?
Well, it sounds like we're going to find out.
Yeah, we're going to find out. So I was just trying to gauge your confidence level, but the fact that you didn't say, sounds like we're just going to hear it, tells me that you're very confident.
Well, 6 out of 10 confidence level.
Okay.
Maybe 5.5.
Oh, okay. All right. So first one up. This is the first one up here. I'm going to play one, and you tell me, is this Tonight Show Conan O'Brien, Tonight Show Jay Leno, Tonight Show Johnny Carson? Here's the first one. All right, what do you got?
Conan.
Oh, man. It's not. He missed it. This is this is a Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. That's the Carson theme right there. Okay, so it's not Conan. The other two that are left are Leno and Conan. Let's see if you can get this one.
Leno.
You got it. Leno, and that would leave the other one. So that's Leno. That would leave Conan, which his Tonight Show deal was a little bit like a take on his Late Night with Conan.
Oh my God! Now I remember that tune.
Now it's in your.
If only you would have played that one first.
I know. Yeah, that's definitely Conan. And then he'd come out and say, what? Stay cool, my babies. And he'd do the little thing where the drum would match like he's a string puppet. You know, he'd do the little string puppet dance. That's good stuff. Now, somebody did say here, you're just going to skip Jack Parr. I don't know that much about Jack Parr. And I didn't include him in this one. Of those three, which did you like best? Carson, Leno, or O'Brien? I'm talking about the music, Beaver, or O'Brien.
Oh, the music. Conan's seemed to have a little more pep.
A little more pep.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Carson's was pretty good.
Carson's was good.
I'll go with Conan, though.
Would you? I would go actually with Leno. The music for Leno. And you know why? It definitely has a 90s feel to it, doesn't it, Beaver?
Yep.
Hey, you know, I was noticing this the other day when we were doing the SNL stuff and we played the SNL intro, and then you listened to some of the theme songs for TV sitcoms in the 90s, which it used to be a big deal. Theme songs and stuff, that was a big deal because everybody watched it. The saxophone was a go-to for big-time productions and theme shows and theme songs, in the 90s. And then it just disappeared. Nobody does a saxophone on anything anymore, do they?
No, that's a good point. I never thought about that.
I mean, imagine being
big.
Imagine being the world's greatest saxophone player in the 90s versus now. Did Kenny G play a saxophone, or was that something else he played?
Oh, Kenny G, what did you do?
When's the last time you thought about Kenny G?
Last time I went to the dentist? Probably. Kenny G, what did he... Oh, my goodness, Matt, it's right there. Like, the man's famous for playing this. But
he played something, but I don't guess it was a saxophone, was it? See, okay, and Jimmy is right. Jimmy is saying this on the Murray West Live thread. He said Leno's deal, it sounds a little like SNL, and it does. And, you know, SNL is on NBC also. That's a saxophone. Hear it? Now, let's hear if there's a saxophone in Conan O'Brien's. Nope. No, there's not. I think it's time for us to make the saxophone cool again. Bring it back. I can picture Beaver playing a saxophone. Being like Ron Swanson, and he sort of has a different personality at night, puts on a hat, sunglasses, goes out, does some entertaining local establishments. Can't you see Beaver doing that? More on that tomorrow. Same time, same place here in the Bureau. For Beaver, I'm Matt. All of us here on the show in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. See you then.